Episode 31 of Promise Me to Dazzle opens not with music, but silence. Heavy, tense, almost painful. Xu Yan sits alone in her office, papers scattered, light cutting through the blinds. Her empire, once glowing with success, now trembles under scandal. The phone rings, yet she doesn't answer. She's not deaf, just lost, unsure what truth is left to speak. This episode is no longer about romance or reunion. It's about survival, about how pride turns to guilt, and ambition becomes a wound. Every shot lingers on her stillness, her breath, her broken strength. Failure here isn't loud. It's quiet, human, and devastating. As the storm gathers around Xu Yan, one question remains. Can love survive when trust has already died? In episode 31 of Love's Ambition, Xu Yan's world finally cracks. Her company, Yan Yi Fong, once the pride of her career, becomes the center of a financial storm. News headlines scream fraud, betrayal, and downfall. The woman once admired for strength now faces the cruel silence of public judgment. At the heart of it all is Lin Tao, her trusted colleague, the man she once defended. But the truth cuts deep. Forged documents, hidden accounts, and a web of lies spun to protect his greed. Even worse, Xu Yan's younger sister, Chao Lin, is dragged into the chaos, coerced into an illegal deal that threatens everything Xu Yan built. Under the weight of scandal, Xu Yan stands alone in a crowd that once cheered her name. She doesn't fight back with anger, only quiet disbelief. Her hands tremble, but her eyes stay dry, because sometimes tears are a luxury the strong can't afford. And as the lights of Yan Yi Fong fade, we see not a failure, but a woman forced to face the cost of ambition, the kind that takes everything, even her peace. In Love's Ambition, Episode 31, Shen Haoming returns, not as the confident CEO the world remembers, but as a man quietly chasing the truth. When he learns of Xu Yan's downfall, he doesn't appear in grand gestures or heroic music. He comes back in silence, watching from the shadows, gathering every piece of evidence to prove her innocence. Gone is the arrogance of power. Now there's only regret, and a quiet longing that never faded. Haoming visits the office she once ruled, the air thick with memories. He touches her desk, her abandoned cup of coffee, and realizes he never truly left her world. Their reunion isn't dramatic. It's fragile, full of hesitation. A glance across the corridor, a few words too soft to catch. But behind those silences lies something stronger than accusation, understanding. Haoming's investigation becomes more than a mission. It's redemption, a way to protect the woman he once failed to love right. And as he walks into Xu Yan's storm, one truth becomes clear. Sometimes love doesn't save us. It gives us the courage to stay, even when everything is falling apart. The storm spreads beyond Xu Yan and into the heart of the Shen family. In Love's Ambition, Episode 31, the powerful empire that once stood untouchable begins to fracture from within. News breaks. Shen Haoming's beloved son, is revealed to be born out of wedlock. In an instant, the family name, once synonymous with prestige, becomes a headline of scandal. Stocks plummet, reporters swarm the mansion, and the patriarch collapses from a sudden heart attack. Within hours, the Shen Empire, built over decades, starts to crumble. Amid the chaos, Xu Mingcheng, an ambitious shareholder, seizes the moment. He calls an emergency meeting, strips Haoming of authority, and claims control of the company in cold precision. For the first time, Haoming is powerless, both as a businessman and as a father. The camera lingers on his face, tired, defeated, but still refusing to bow. Because sometimes losing everything isn't the end. It's the beginning of truth. The downfall of the Shen family isn't just financial. It's the collapse of pride, of image, of everything that love and ambition once tried to protect. After the chaos of betrayal and power, love's ambition slows down, like a deep breath after a storm. Yan and Shen Haoming leave the city behind, taking their son to the quiet countryside. No more suits, no boardrooms, no flashing headlines. Just the sound of wind brushing through bamboo and the rhythm of ordinary life. They tend chickens, hang laundry, dye cloth under the soft afternoon sun. For the first time in years, they sit at the same table, not as ex-lovers, but as two people learning to be human again. One evening, as Haoming loosens his tie, he murmurs, "I'm glad our divorce wasn't the final page." It's not a grand confession, just a fragile truth, the kind that only exists between two hearts still quietly connected. Their laughter returns, not loud, but gentle. Even Haoming's mother, catching them in a tender moment, can't help but smile. For a brief moment, love's ambition forgets its pain. It remembers love, not the perfect kind, but the real one. Flawed, enduring, and beautifully human. Just when peace begins to bloom, love's ambition reminds us, calm never lasts forever. The storm returns, colder and sharper than before. Lin Tao's mask finally cracks. The man once trusted by Yan is revealed as the true architect behind the company's fraud. Every lie, every forged document, every ruined reputation, all trace back to him. But his betrayal cuts deeper than business. It was personal. He used love, loyalty, and weakness as tools for manipulation. Meanwhile, Fang Lei's secret resurfaces, the paternity test that could destroy everything. Was it falsified? If so, Haoshen's identity and the fragile peace between Yan and Haoming will shatter once more. Under the weight of rumors and guilt, young Haoshen begins to crumble. He stops speaking, hides from light, and drifts into silence. Doctors call it trauma, but the show portrays something deeper, the echo of broken trust. As darkness settles again, love's ambition strips away its glamour and faces raw pain. Because sometimes, it's not the betrayal that destroys us. It's the moment we realize the people we love are capable of it. In Love's Ambition, episode 31, the storm doesn't end with shouting. It ends in silence. A silence heavy with regret, confession, and the slow ache of forgiveness. Shen Haoming, stripped of power and pride, returns not as a CEO, but as a father and a man who has lost his way. His hair unkempt, his hands rough. He's no longer the image of success, but of sincerity. Beside him, Yan stands firm yet gentle, her eyes tired but kind. In a powerful scene, she faces the press and whispers, "Shen Haoshen is my son." No grand music, no applause, just truth. It's a declaration that pierces through scandal and shame, reclaiming her dignity as a mother. Later, she and Haoming stand under the rain, saying nothing. He reaches out, trembling, but she doesn't pull away. Because forgiveness doesn't always come through words, sometimes it's in the act of staying. This is not a reunion of lovers, but two souls learning to breathe again. Through pain, they rediscover something pure, not perfection, but peace. As Love's Ambition, episode 31 draws to a close, everything slows, not in defeat, but in acceptance. The storm has passed, but the air still trembles with what's left unsaid. Yan and Shen Haoming sit beneath the dim light of their small countryside home. No grand reunion, no promises, only quiet understanding. Their son, asleep nearby, breathes softly, a fragile symbol of what remains when everything else falls apart. Outside, thunder rolls again in the distance. It's not over. The truth about Fang Lei's test still hangs in the air, the fate of Yan Yifang uncertain. But for now, there's peace, not because their wounds have healed, but because they've stopped running from them. Yan looks out the window, the reflection of her past flickering in the rain. Haoming whispers, "Maybe love isn't about winning. Maybe it's about surviving together." The screen fades to black, a heartbeat of silence. And in that stillness, Love's ambition leaves us with one haunting thought. Even in ruin, love can still exist. Quiet, imperfect, but real. Love's ambition. Episode 31 doesn't end with a climax. It ends with reflection. No heroes, no villains, just people trying to make peace with their choices. Yan and Shen Haoming remind us that love isn't always about staying together. Sometimes, it's about not giving up on each other, even when distance and silence remain. Every scene feels like a quiet confession of pain, of regret, of fragile hope. And that's what makes this episode unforgettable. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And in those whispers, we find truth. Raw, flawed, and human. As we wait for the final chapter, one question lingers. Will redemption come, or will ambition take everything again? If you felt the same ache, the same quiet beauty, let me know your thoughts below. And don't forget to subscribe, because the storm isn't over, and love's ambition still has one final heartbeat left.